Well, good evening, everybody. I'm back with my next video. I hope you all enjoyed the research one, just trying to give you a heads up that there's plenty that you need to research, you really do. And there are plenty of places to get it from. I think what I mentioned I was going to talk about this time is the kind of what brought me to wanting the implants and they call them all on fours. I never did like my smile. However, I was a little bit kind of petty about it in high school. I had really strong teeth. I mean, they weren't perfectly straight, but they weren't really bad. But back then, I thought it was terrible. So then I got married at 18 the first time, and I had kids. Well, it plays a toll on your teeth. Well, I never did like dentists. I have a horrible anxiety when it comes to dentists. I just not a fan. I have a really hard time with the Novocaine. Doesn't work really well on me. So I just not like it. And you know that little metal tool they use, that little pick thing? Yeah, I don't. No. So that being said, and then having kids, I kind of put, their needs and their dental visits and stuff ahead of mine. When I was going through divorce, I got an abscess tooth. It's happened before, and I took some leave because I was working 2 jobs, couldn't get to the dentist. Well, the pain got worse, and I started getting shooting pains in my head. A girlfriend of mine that I was living with through the divorce, she came home. She found me on the floor, took me to the hospital. I had 106.9 temperature, was in pain. It was so excruciating, worse than childbirth, that I went into a coma. I was life flighted from Claremore to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they had called my parents and asked if I'd ever been on drugs, and they said no. And they basically told my parents that would have been the lesser of 2 evils because I had spinal meningitis. So they had said if I didn't wake up in 3 days, probably wasn't going to wake up. 10 days later, by the grace of God, I woke up, and here I am. I had to learn to walk a little bit. My equilibrium was bad, and talking was kind of, and my handwriting was never the same. Short-term memory is not really good, stuff like that. But I'm alive, and I get to see my kids, and, I got to raise my kids and be with my kids, so it's okay. But the PICC line that went in with the antibiotics just did nothing but destroy the rest of my teeth. So when I came out and was able to, I had all but the front 4. I had all the rest pulled, and I had a partial, and that was in the early 2000s. And I had my own teeth down here. And then fast forward, when I moved to Florida in 05, I went and got 4, I got 2 root canals, and I got 2 crowns on the front teeth, and they look really pretty. However, I have a very high smile, and when I would smile, you would see my tooth ended here, and then the crown, or the partial started here, and you could see it. So I couldn't smile normally, or like just a regular smile. I haven't been able to do that forever. Like I said, when I was a teenager, because I didn't like my smile, but then once this happened, it really wasn't good, and I couldn't do it. So there were never any family photos taken of me and my husband and my kids, and when that all happened, I was going through the divorce, and I met my husband now then, and he's been with me through this whole ordeal. He's been wonderful. But so that's how that happened. Now, I had the partial, and I had those crowns and some root canals done in Florida. But as time went on, my bottom teeth, I couldn't keep up with what they needed, and I still had kids that were requiring dental visits and whatnot. And I just couldn't keep up. And so I decided 2 years ago in 2017, well, 2016 really, that I had wanted the all-on-4s, and I did what I thought was a substantial amount of research for 6 months looking into this and that, but I wasn't looking, it wasn't the amount of time I spent researching it as much as it was what I was researching. Not good. I wish I had gone on YouTube and looked at all these videos. Then I would have learned a lot more than I knew going in. Fast forward June 9th, 2017, I went to Affordable Dentures in Weeki Wachee, Florida. We spent the night. The next morning got up, they did 13 extractions, the 4 on top and then what was left on the bottom. Put the implants in and the abutments. And like I had said, that did not, they were told I didn't have enough bone up top. They told me that I didn't have enough to do any up top. So again, on the way home, you want to research things because like I told you before, on the way home, I wasn't breathing in my last video. So there was that. And, you know, they just weren't really thorough in doing anything. And a lot of pain and things that they were doing as far as, I mean, the process, the procedure, honestly, having the extractions and all that done, I went home and, I mean, I was a little sore and I took pain pills that I was prescribed the way I was prescribed them for 5 days. That's it. And then I didn't really need any after that. If I ever did, I took and leave. When I went back and they had done something wrong and they had to take one of my abutments out after putting me on antibiotics and thinking that would do it, it wasn't doing it. They took an abutment out, which that did not hurt, but when I went back, they tried to stick a needle in next to that abutment in my gum to numb me, to cut my gum open to put another abutment in there. You don't even know. That was the worst thing ever for me. That was really bad and made my anxiety even worse. So I said, no, I'll have an oral surgeon do it. And I left. And come September, I was supposed to have my permanents on top and bottom because these are my temporaries. I didn't go. I went to an oral surgeon, and sure enough, he told me that they failed. And like I had said, the irrigation they used was not proper. And they burned my bone, which deadened it. So, of course, there was no ossification to the bone to the implant. So they all had to come out. And I had the oral surgeon take them out in November of 2017. And then December of that year, my husband and I, we moved to East Tennessee, where we live now. We've been here a year, just over a year. After doing a lot of research, like I said, on the web, looking at people's videos, comments, and everything, and talking to people around the area and looking at different dentists, cosmetic dentists, and the reviews and everything, I found one who worked with a really highly credible oral surgeon. They've worked together in 2 separate facilities for a long time. So that's my story. That's how that happened. If you have any questions, let me know. Up to the current point, last year, April, I went in to this oral surgeon in Tennessee. She put 5 implants in, and the reason being is because if I ever decide down the road I don't want the snap-ins and I want the screw-ins, they recommend 5. And so I already have 5, and that's fine because the more, the less bone loss anyway. So she put 5 in, guarantees her work. My cosmetic dentist and her correspond all the time. I went back in August. April had that done. August, I went back. They did the abutments and put that in. She put those in. And again, I was IV sedated. Not a problem either. No problem waking up. Nothing. Very well watched and monitored. Very professional people. So I did that. And then it was only supposed to take a little while. And I was supposed to go in, and I did, and my cosmetic dentist was going to take the abutments out and measure for my locators. Locators are what they replace the healing abutments with. The locators are what stay in there because that is what snaps in. These are the male part, and they snap into the female part, which will be on the bottom of your snap-in dentures when you get them. So I'll show you. These are what the locators look like. You can see. Oh, yeah. So you can see that. Um, However, like I mentioned, when she took one out, there was the zap. There was bone growth between the implant and the abutment. Went back to the oral surgeon. She sedated me, cleaned all that up. I went back. And then she actually, while she was in there, took them out and put my locators in for me. So I didn't have to go through any of that. I did go back for my impressions. There's nothing to that. And as anxious and horrible of a patient I am when it comes to dentists, I promise you there was nothing. That's an easy walk in the park. No, it doesn't feel like they're going to rip them out when they pull that mold off. None of that, no. That was no problem. And then I waited for the wax try-in, which the first one was the wax. It's like a bite block. There's no teeth on it. And I went back, and my cosmetic dentist, who I have to say, I don't know if I'm allowed to use their name yet. I'll put it in one of them in the future. I'll ask her, as I'm going to see her tomorrow. But she's amazing. Beautiful, soft-spoken, no anxiety with her at all. The whole staff, they're all wonderful. But when I went for the wax block, I recommend doing that with a dentist. If you do it at home, I mean, I'm not criticizing anybody that does, but there are things that we don't know that they know to look for. For example, with them in top and bottom. Now, mind you, the wax bite block had the female parts in it to snap in to my locators, and I'll get to that in a minute. However, she had the top and bottom in, and she had me say like 55 because she wants it to touch what she calls your wet dry line, which is right there. She was also taking pictures of me from the side, because here's another thing I never found on the internet, and when you do research. When your teeth are out, it is completely normal for this to happen. Can you see how my chin, can you see that? It's like, I don't know if you can see it, how everything kind of comes out forward. When I went for my wax bite block, that wasn't like that anymore. I didn't have the marionette lines anymore, none of this. It was all gone again, just like it's supposed to be. And she also noted there that they were going to keep more of the wax here to give me my top lip back, more of my top lip. And she drew a line, like know where the center line is, and just certain things like that that you don't know to do at home. And then she sent those off. And then you wait to get your wax try-ins, which these are basically your snap-in dentures, but they're made of wax. So they're not the real thing. That was that. There was something else I was going to get to with that, but I'll come back. So we did that, and I was excited. And of course, that was December 20th that we did the wax block. And that got sent off. Well, the lab is going to deliver my wax try-ins, the ones with the teeth on them. We've picked a color. I did. And oh, that's another thing. A rule of thumb that my dentist said, and it really works. If you're unsure about what shade, match it to the white of your eyes. That is a surefire way to have the proper color teeth. And they were like a B1 or B2. It was perfect. I was very happy. So we did that. And now I know that my wax try-ins are going to be delivered tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning. So tomorrow I have an appointment at 10 to go for my wax try-ins. And that's with the teeth on and everything like that. This appointment is crucial. Everything has to fit perfectly. The aesthetically pleasing to the eye, like everything needs to have my face back the way it was when I had teeth. And the snaps have to fit right. And that was what I was going to get at. When I went for the wax bite block and they had the female parts and we snapped them in, she put them in and she pressured like a little bit on both sides evenly at the same time. Okay, and she talked to me. And I was like waiting for some horrific snap, click, and in my ears, really loud. And it never happened, none of it. And they were in. So there was none of that snapping noise or anything. And then when we had to take them out for her to make adjustments there, she said, okay, I'm going to have you take them out. She said, what I want you to do is take your thumb on both sides and just gently pop them right out. I said, okay. So I did that, and they popped right out. There was no noise, nothing. They just lifted right out. It was just the most, oh, I was so happy. And she also told me when I had the wax block in, she said, okay, now I want to see, smile big for me. And I'm like, okay. And she goes, you have a beautiful smile. Like, I've never heard that in my life. I don't even know what my smile looks like. Couldn't tell you. So that's kind of, it gets emotional. I'll tell you that. So tomorrow I'm going for my wax try-ins with the teeth on. And I am going to have my daughter video it. And I will upload that and talk to you guys about that as it goes along tomorrow. Once we do that and we get that right, and I'm going to tell you, if there's something not right, they're going to send back to the lab, and the lab will send them back when they change it and fix it the way we want it. At this point, it'll be here in April. I'm not going to rush. I want the smile I want. And I've invested a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of stress, frustration. I mean, it's a timely process, research. At this point, really, what's another month? As long as I get them exactly the way I want them and they fit exactly the way I want it. It's my smile for the rest of my life. That's important, you know? So that's where we're at now. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. Comments, feel free. Please subscribe down below there to my channel. And again, I'm going to have it videoed tomorrow with the wax try-ins, and I'll get to that and I will upload that with some more information. So thank you so much for watching. Remember, smile anyway. They're contagious. Bye-bye.